Hey guys, welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide. Welcome back to another edition of the Guides Network. And I think it's one that you've all been anticipating and asking for more than anything else. I'm a guy that doesn't do this very much. I had a half a day today, Mother's Day of all days. Mom, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for everything you did for me, and to my amazing wife, who is going through hell, as many of you know, with some medical stuff this year. And yet you still find time to support me and allow me to come out here and chase this dream on the day that's supposed to be yours. So happy Mother's Day to you, babe. I love you very much. All right, today we're going to talk about, are you ready? Fishing with your electronics on deep offshore structure. By the way, guys, we're doing these free seminars, and we're talking about stuff just like what you see on the Guides Network. So if you like the Guides Network episodes that I do, and that I bring other guides on here to do, make sure that you come see us at the Lake Fork Tackle Store in Emory, Texas, 2 weeks from this Friday night. It'll be June 2nd, I believe. 2 weeks from this Friday, June 2nd, 6 p.m., Lake Fork Tackle Store in Emory, Texas. If you can get there, come on. Free seminar. It'll be, multiple guides giving technique, information, instruction, basically just like these videos are. So, also bassbuck.com. Hey man, go check me out. Sign up for bassbuck.com. Hit up your boy over there. Awesome outdoors community. Go over there and find out information, ask questions, just maybe be a stalker and lurk and see what everybody else has to say. Whatever suits your fancy. We're not going to judge you. Get to bassbuck.com and get signed up today. All right, instruction, here we go. Gear. What baits do I use for offshore fishing? I'm not going to get too in-depth on all the baits because, that would be, we'd need a video for each separate one. But I'll give you kind of my basics that I go with. Carolina rig's probably my day in, day out, number one bait that I throw. I like to run about a 2.5 to 3 foot leader. That's a baby brush hog. I also love the Lake Fork Tackle ring fry right there. Any watermelon color, and then a lot of times that chartreuse pepper color gets a lot of bites. That's actually a chartreuse pepper with a little bit of red flake, a little special color just for me from LFT. So yeah, so the ring fry, brush hog, and the hyper stick. I use the LFT hyper stick as well. Those are my basic Carolina rig baits. That's my number one. Just throw it out there, fish it slow. If something won't bite that Carolina rig, you're probably not going to get bit on that point. Next, when those days are just ridiculously tough and it's hard to get bites, and those fish are grouped up, you can see them, and you want to be able to fish right in them, you can get right over the top of them, look at them with that front graph, and drop you a drop shot down there. So there's my drop shot rig. You guys can see I don't use that long of a leader, maybe 8 inches or so. Actually, well, we got a 9-inch needleworm, so I have a 9-inch leader. But that needleworm is my number one. That's pretty much just about the only bait I'll throw on a drop shot. When I want to change it up, I actually go to the Lake Fork Tackle Zigzag, and that needleworm is a Lake Fork Tackle bait as well. The Lake Fork Tackle Zigzag, that's what that is. That's a 10-inch Lake Fork Tackle worm that I pulled the curly tail off of. But they sell it like this, and they call it a zigzag. So same thing. If you got some 10-inch worms, you can just pull the tail off, or you can buy them as zigzags if you want from LFT. When I'm catching fish offshore on a drop shot, it means that I'm not having a good day fishing offshore, and I'm not catching them good. It because I despise throwing that drop shot. But this is the main time that I do when I have to, is offshore fishing. I use that drop shot. All right, now let's get into something fun. Big crankbait, 10XD. This is a 6-inch lures, Cloud9 C25. All the 20+ foot diving crankbaits, chartreuse blue is almost the only color I ever throw on my big deep diving crankbaits. Sometimes I'll throw like a sexy shad color. This is one of my personal favorites, and I'm not very good with it. I don't catch a lot of fish with it, but I just love it. Probably part of it is it started at Lake Fork. This bait, this technique was invented here at Lake Fork, so that makes me feel, you know, nostalgic about it. Plus, the guy that invented this daggum thing, I'm very good friends with, Mr. Joe Spaits. You guys have been watching for a long time, may have seen me interview him a couple times. He invented the Flutter Spoon, but that's a big old Flutter Spoon right there, and that's the Big Joe Flutter Spoon. That's the original. If you want to get Big Joe Flutter Spoons, the only way to find them is to call him, and I will link his phone number below, and or go by his shop. His shop is on Lake Fork. It's on Highway 17 at the intersection where the Little Mustang Bridge is. So Highway 17 right there at the Little Mustang Bridge. It's called the Tackle Factory. That's Mr. Joe Spaits' shop. All right. Lastly, it may be my favorite overall. I don't know. It's hard to toss up between the Flutter Spoon and this. This is definitely the one I catch the majority of my bigger fish on, even over the crankbait. And that is, well, it's supposed to be a football jig, but this year I'm doing something new. That's a 6-cent Lures Devine Hybrid Jig is the bait that I'm throwing, and it was brand new out of the package, and now it has teeth marks all over it. That's pretty cool. Anyway, it's kind of, you can see that head on it. It's got a little bit of a beveled or V bottom, and that allows it to do that, you know, that rock. When you drag it, it rocks like a football jig does, but the triangular shape doesn't get hung up in wood nearly. I will hang up a football jig on this lake with all this wood we got. But this one, the head goes through that wood a lot better than a football head jig. So I was glad to be able to get a couple key bites on that today. It's the first time I fished it. You know, first time I've thrown one of these hybrid jigs out here, you know, on offshore structure was today. And I was really pleased with it. Got a couple of really good fish in the boat with it, and both of them ate it really good. Hooked both of them right in the top of the head like they're supposed to. So I've got me a new favorite offshore jig, 3/4 ounce hybrid jig from 6-cent Lures. All right, there you go. Yeah, I even got more in depth than I wanted to on those techniques, because guys, we could literally sit here and make 3 or 4 shows out of all the different baits we use and retrieves. You know, I'm not going to go into any of that. What I'm going to focus on now, I'm going to get behind that graph, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking for on the map. And here in a minute, you're going to see some stuff that I shot earlier when I was actually fishing, where I show you guys some fish and how they were set up on this structure that I was looking at, and what they looked like on my graph before I was able to catch a couple of them. So right now, let's break down that map a little bit. You guys don't be looking at them stinking GPS coordinates that are in the bottom left corner of my screen, because I don't know how to turn them off. But I'm going to show you guys some main lake structure and what I look for when I'm trying to find these offshore main lake structure fish. Oh shoot, hey, one more thing. I'll show you a key tip on this in a minute, but this is a marker buoy. This little metal bracket just unfolds, comes off, and when you chuck it out there, it unwinds, and the buoy turns like this, and the metal sinks to the bottom. It has just, you throw it out there, the metal sinks to the bottom, and this just floats right in one spot. It's anchored down, and it just marks a spot for you. But hey, this is probably my most important tool when I'm fishing offshore, other than my electronics. And I'll show you guys how I use that here in just a minute. It's not, I don't mark the fish with it, but once I've got my boat set up, I use my waypoints to mark the fish. And then once I've got my boat set up, then I'll throw this out beside my boat, so I know right where, once I've got my boat on the right angle that I want to cast from, I'll throw this out beside my boat so I know where I need to keep my boat. That way when I catch a fish, the wind blows me off the spot or whatever have you, I can go right up beside this and make the same cast again, and I'm going right to the spot. Because it is a lot more precise than you might think. It's not just covering water out here. Sometimes when these fish are set up right on the crest of these points, you got to be putting that bait right in the go zone to get bit. So this thing right here, and I'll show you how I use it here in just a minute, This thing right here is a big, huge tool for me. So make sure you have some marker buoys. In fact, you know what? I'll go ahead and show you how I was using that right now. One thing that I like to do is once I got my waypoints marked, and I'll use my waypoints, you know, my waypoints are tied in from console to bow and all that. So once I've gotten lined up on my waypoints and I've seen where I want to make a cast, I'll take a buoy marker. You guys see my buoy marker right out there? That yellow buoy marker. I will actually not mark fish with that, but I will mark where I want to position my boat. So now I've got that buoy marker positioned. I got my boat positioned. I'm pointing into the wind so I can control my boat better. And now I can make multiple casts, fan casting the area where I graph the fish at. I know my waypoints where I marked fish are right out in front of me. And this is just a easy way for me to help keep boat positioning. Boat positioning is a big part of offshore fishing, and this is a tip that you guys can use that will make boat positioning so much more simple. So I hope that helps. Well, that's the, hey, let's get behind that map. Let's show you guys what we're looking for. What kind of structure, how do I figure out this vast ocean out in front of me? You guys can't really see it right now. There's a vast ocean out here. How do I figure out where I'm gonna fish? Fix and tell you. But mainly what we're looking for, what we're targeting here, is very, very long, slow tapering main lake points. And I would like, if at all possible, at the end of that point, I want to have a very significant steep drop into a big main channel type of structure. But we're looking for points that run way out into the middle of the lake. That's what we're looking for. And then on top of that, we want a flat spot, whatever depth the fish are wanting to use, which right now is really 20 to 25 is kind of the depth they're wanting to use, 20 to 25 foot deep. I want it to have a flat spot in that 20 to 25 foot, and I've got a point pulled up right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and show you guys. So hopefully you can see. Okay, so here's the main outline of the point right here that runs way out into the lake. The bank's way over here off the screen. You can't even see the bank, but if you look from right here, that's 22 foot, and then 23 foot's not till way out here. See how that's got a long flat spot? That's a huge flat spot on top of that point. And then right out here where all my waypoints are, right on the edge, right where it drops off into deeper water. That's where you see all my little fish waypoints. As I zoom in here a little bit, you can see how many waypoints. I've got a bunch. Those are me marking little pods, little groups of fish, is what all those waypoints are. And they're sitting right on the end of that point, which is prime time setup. That's in the go zone there. You sit out here outside them, throw up on the point and drag back to them, and you will catch them. Anyway, so there's one example of one of those main lake points that extends way out there. Let me see if I can find you guys another one real quick. So right here, everybody kind of knows what this is. That's the water pump right there. If you've been on Lake Fork, you've seen a big water pump house. That's it right there. Well, there's an underwater point. There's actually 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them. There's several that come out. You can see the little ridges making little circles right here. Well, the one that extends the furthest out, as you can see, is the one that I've been marking fish on here lately. And as we zoom in and allow the map to catch up, you'll see again from 22 to 23 extended, very extended flat spot, and those fish are sitting right on the end of that point, right where it drops into deep water. And on days when we do have wind, that's where the fish are sitting. The wind's, you know, pushing up against that flat spot on that point, pushing up against that ledge, and that's right where those fish like to sit so they can ambush stuff as it comes crashing into that point. And you can see we're on either side of the tip of that point, we're marking fish. But that's right where you want them, and that's how these fish are setting up right now. That's why everybody's having so much success fishing offshore, because they are set up in a perfect way on the ends of these long main lake points. It makes them easy to target, and they're sitting there ready to ambush something, ready to eat. So that's what you want to look for. Long extended main lake point. You can see how I zigzagged across it, graphing it, and then mark your schools of fish. And then what you want to do is, depending on the wind direction, sit outside of them, throw up on top of that point, and drag back to them. You will catch fish doing that, guys. All right, once again, this one, I'll have to zoom way out on this one. But this point actually starts all the way up here. I mean, that's a couple, 3 miles long point. It comes out right there. And as you zoom in, you'll see exactly what I'm focused on. Is this flat spot out here. Okay, that's a good flat spot on the end of a point. But if you look at the numbers, 45, 41, 36, 37, that spot's too deep for what's going on right now. Remember I said you got to find the zone they're in. You got to find the flat spots in those depth zones that they're in. And right now they're wanting to be in 20 to 25. So we go up here and we look, see what we got. Hey, Look, 24, 23, 22, 25. So look, I went across the tip of this point where it extends out. Now remember, there's really shallow water right here in this corner, but this is at the end of a like mile or two long point. I mean, this thing runs for miles out into the lake, and this is at the very tip end of it. And right there, you can kind of see out mark some fish on a flat spot. And we caught some fish off that point today. One of the fish on camera today came off that spot right there. So that's where, and you can kind of see where I was fishing, where the lines get real squiggly. I was throwing up on top of that point and dragging back to my boat. Hey, throwing across them, dragging back to them, sitting right on the tip end of super long extended main lake points. Well, there you go, guys. That is an in-depth breakdown of the exact kind of structure that I'm looking for. I'm not saying you can't catch them on road beds and pond dams and humps and all that good stuff, but right now the fishing, we set up in 20 to 25 foot of water, and when they're coming out from this spawning cycle and their post-spawn fish, they always seem to stop on the end of those longest main lake points. That's kind of where they seem to stop before they go out there and get suspended in the summertime and all that stuff. So the whole rest of the month of May, really all of June, you'll have fish set up on these spots like this. That depth may change. They may, climb on up into 15 to 20 foot. They may drop down to 25 to 30 foot. But somewhere out on that long, slow tapering point, there's going to be some schools of fish that are ready to eat and there for the taking. So if you guys want to learn how to fish deep, right now is a great time to go out and teach yourself. And watch this video. Take the tips that we've tried to share with you here. Hopefully they can help you some. And I bet you, if you guys will really pay attention to what I'm fixing to show you right now on these electronics, and you see that on your graph on one of these spots that we're telling you to go look at, I bet you that you will catch some really nice fish just like we did today. So hey, check this out real quick. I'm going to show you guys a couple clips of the graph and what we were looking at when we were catching these fish. Go ahead and show you a couple fish catches as well. All right, so I'm graphing a point. I'm zigzagging back and forth across, and as I come across the crest of the point, I see this here. So this is a school of bass. They're pretty small bass. They're probably 2 to 3 pounders, but good bass, and it's a whole school of them. They're sitting right on the crest of the point, as you guys can see, in about 21, 22 feet of water at the top, and it slopes off to the sides. But right out to the side of that point, as it starts to slope down, you guys can see all these bait fish right here. Hopefully that shows up real good on the down scan, and there they are right there. Those are probably either gizzard shad or barfish, but that's just a good example of the difference in what the different species will look like. That's a perfect example of those bass being set up prime time to attack that bait. They're sitting on the crest of the point. As soon as some of those bait fish, maybe the wind blows them a little bit or whatever, as soon as they slip up and come on top of that point, they're going to get eaten, and we're fixing to throw something down there, see if they'll eat whatever we're offering. Boys, we got us a good one. I'm talking about a good one. Stay down, baby. Stay down. Oh, yeah. Get up in here, big boy. Hey, that is why you graph offshore structure right there. That's it. That is absolutely it. That is so cool when you can look at them and you go down there and feel a couple bites, and then bam, look at that. Boy, I'll tell you what, I'm excited now. Mother's Day to this big fat mama. She probably just had a bunch of babies a month or two ago. So happy Mom's Day to all you moms out there. Happy Mom's Day to you, sweet girl, and let's let her go. Man, I love Lake Fork. Oh, we got a big one football jig, I believe. Oh yeah, another big one, boys. Stay down. Oh. Come on up in here. We done called her twin sister. How about that? That's the it's actually a hybrid jig. That's that 6 cents Devine Hybrid Jig right there. Look at that. That is why. That is why we graph offshore structure in the post spawn right there. I mean, we've caught two fish probably in here. We're biting kind of slow. We've probably been here 20 to 30 minutes. But hey, 20 to 30 minutes for two fish like that, that ain't bad, dog. That ain't bad. Here's the cool part about that little buoy trick I was telling you guys to mark your boat positioning. See, like that wind just drifted us, you know, way out off the spot. But now I've got that buoy marker, so I don't have to look at my graph. I don't have to figure out, well, which direction am I going, which direction is north. I don't have to get, there's no confusion. I pull right up to this buoy marker that's sitting right up here, and I'm right back in the go zone. I was sitting right next to it when I just caught that fish. So it's a big time saver. Hey, and a lot of times when you get a bite, the faster you can get back in there, it might be a school of them fired up, might get another bite. So, all right, that right there, guys, is a good example of what I'm talking about when I say I want to see that green in there. See that one big arch with green in it, and if you look over here, even at these, they have green in them as well, and they're glued right to the bottom. So I'm going to mark waypoints. Okay, even though that's really close together, I'm going to mark fish waypoints on both of those. That way I've kind of got my parameters down of where I'm going to fish. But those, again, are set up. As you can see, it's starting to fall. Falls over here, and it falls over there. They're set up right on the crest of the point, which is exactly what we want to see. That means that those fish are there waiting for something to mess up and come across that point. And hopefully we can catch a couple more. Just like the ones we just caught, because those fish there's not very many of them there. There's not as many fish as were on the last one, but it looks like we got a couple of big ones in here, and they are set up in what I like to call the attack position. They're ready to go. Good grief, what's happening here? I don't know. He had something slacking on I couldn't get that fish. What a line out. I got a football jig fish. I don't know what's going on. It's chaos. There's too much line out. He must have been running towards me. That's a good fish. Oh God, he's got it eaten. He's got that old jig choked, boy. What is going on here? Come here, you big old sucker. Give me your mouth. Give me your mouth. That's a good one. Look at that. Devine Hybrid Jig, 6 cents lures right there. Y'all see that? That's how they do it. Man, he bit that thing and started coming right towards me. And I tried to set the hook and I got like no weight. And I just kept reeling. It kept getting heavier. It was so weird. Man, sometimes I'm really terrible at this fishing thing. There you go. Another offshore structure fish. Solid fish on the graph. Put that old jig down there in their face. Bye out. That's what happened. One more again. Big one. There we go. I guess I kind of deserve that for doing what I did to him, didn't I? Man, it's an awesome game, boys. It's an awesome game. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. In case you couldn't tell, that's pretty fun. So get out there, take advantage of it, learn. If you've got these high-tech electronics, don't waste your money. They are some of the handiest tools that you could ever imagine. They will not lie to you once you got, once you know what you're looking at. Hopefully this video helped you with that. Once you know what you're looking at, man, they do not tell a story. If that graph tells you it's Christmas, you better go buy some presents, buddy. I'm telling you. As always, we appreciate you guys watching Your Lake Fork Guide. Really hope y'all enjoyed this. I know a lot of you were wanting to see this. I'm not the best at this. I'm by no means a, expert of any kind on offshore, electronics, that type of fishing, but these are some basic stuff that I know, and I can basically catch some fish doing it. So hopefully they'll basically help you guys catch some fish. Note to self, don't film near a boat lane. Bad idea. But hey, we hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope to see you next week. Hope to see you at the seminar in 2 weeks from Friday. And we'll see you guys, if nothing else, next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. Sometimes I'm really terrible at this fishing thing.